When Mama died, I'd been on the wagon for nearly 2 years. Not even a glass of beer. Honestly. And I knew I would have stayed on for her sake. She had no one but me. The old man was dead. My brother had married, had a kid, had his own life to live. She'd lost him. She had only me to attend to things for her and take care of her. She'd always hated my drinking. So I quit. It made me happy to do it for her, because she was all I had, all I cared about. Because I loved her. No one would believe that now who knew them. But I did. We went out to the coast to see about selling a piece of property the old man had bought there years ago. And one day, she suddenly became ill. Got rapidly worse. Went into a coma. Brain tumor. The doc said no hope. Might never come out of coma. I went crazy. Couldn't face losing her. The old booze yen got me. I got drunk, and I stayed drunk. And I began hoping she'd never come out of the coma and see I was drinking again. That was my excuse, too, that she'd never know. And she never did. Ooh, nix. Kidding myself again. I know damn well just before she died, she recognized me. She saw I was drunk. And she closed her eyes so she couldn't see and was glad to die. After that, I kept so drunk I did draw a blank most of the time. But I went through the necessary motions, and no one guessed how drunk. But there are things I can never forget. The undertakers, and her body in a coffin with her face made up. I couldn't hardly recognize her. She looked young and pretty, like someone I remembered meeting long ago. Practically a stranger, to whom I was a stranger. Cold and indifferent, not worried about me anymore. Free at last, free from worry, from pain, from me. I stood looking down at her, and something happened to me. I found I couldn't feel anything. I knew I ought to be heartbroken, but I couldn't feel anything. I seemed dead, too. I knew I ought to cry. Even a crying jag would look better than just standing there. But I couldn't cry. I cursed to myself, "You dirty bastard, it's Mama. You loved her, and now she's dead. She's gone away from you forever. Never. Never again." But it had no effect. All I did was try to explain to myself, she's dead. What does she care now if I cry or not, or what I do? It doesn't matter a damn to her. She's happy to be where I can't hurt her ever again. She's rid of me at last. For God's sake, can't you leave her alone even now? For God's sake, can't you let her rest in peace? But there were several people around, and I knew they expected me to show something. Once a ham, always a ham. So I put on an act. I flopped on my knees and hid my face in my hands and faked some sobs and cried, "Mama, Mama, my dear mother." But all the time I kept saying to myself, "You lousy ham. You goddamn lousy ham. Christ, in a minute you'll start singing Mother McCree." Now, I had to bring her body east to be buried alongside the old man. I took a drawing room and hid in it with a case of booze. She was in her coffin in the baggage car. No matter how drunk I got, I couldn't forget that for a minute. I found I couldn't stay alone in the drawing room. It became haunted. I was going crazy. I had to go out and wander up and down the train looking for company. See, I made such a public nuisance of myself that the conductor threatened if I didn't quit, he'd keep me locked in the drawing room. But I'd spotted one passenger who was used to drunks and could pretend to like them if there was enough dough in it. She had Parlor House written all over her. A blonde pig who looked more like a whore than 25 whores, with a face like an overgrown doll's and a come-on smile as cold as a polar bear's feet. I bribed the porter to take a message to her, and that night she sneaked into my drawing room. She was bound for New York, too. So every night, for $50 a night. How could I? I don't know, but I did. I suppose I had some mad idea she could make me forget what was in the baggage car ahead. No. It couldn't have been that. Because I didn't seem to want to forget. It was like some plot I had to carry out. The blonde, she didn't matter. She was only something that belonged in the plot. It was as if I wanted revenge because I'd been left alone, because I knew I was lost, without any hope left, that all I could do would be drink myself to death because no one was left who could help me. No, I didn't forget, even in that pig's arms. I remembered the last 2 lines of a lousy tear-jerker song I'd heard when I was a kid, kept singing over and over in my brain. And baby's cries can't waken her in the baggage coach ahead. And baby's cries can't waken her in the baggage coach ahead. And baby's cries can't waken her in the baggage coach ahead. I couldn't stop singing it. I didn't want to stop it. Well, that's all. Except I was too drunk to go to her funeral. Oh. Don't want to touch me now, huh? Sorry. I'm a damn fool. Shouldn't have told you.